Welcome back, everybody. It is your favorite apostates. My name, of course, is McKay.
And I am Jordan.
And I am dead inside. Just a little update. We had recorded a video for y'all last night reacting to Classically Abby. It was approximately an hour to record. And then I spent about an hour getting to the 15-minute mark of editing the edited video. And then basically at that point out, because of magical Apple AirPods switching, it messed up the audio for the reaction video. And I'm not going to spend time redoing the audio. So we had to scrap that. 2.5 hours of work just down the drain. Whatever. You live and you learn. So that was fun. And then our baby was sick this week, which has been fun. So that's awesome.
We've just had a week.
It's been a week. And then we have, let's do a little spotlight of some stupid ass comments that we've received recently. This one will floor a lot of you people because I mentioned this, I think, the last you people, you wonderful subscribers and people who are watching.
You homies.
Y'all rally behind me and almost made me cry, honestly. Y'all are so nice. You can find this. I will give you the clues to go and find this person, but don't go find this person. Linda over here commented, touching, handling, stroking his hair is distracting to me. Much like the Kardashian women pet and preen with their hair, please break this habit to focus attention on your message rather than you personally. No offense meant. Thanks.
Before you say anything about this, I just want to make the point that this is extremely ableist. Like, extremely ableist.
Guess what, Linda? I have ADHD, and sometimes I can't help it.
What about people who have tics? What about people, like, can you not comment on things like that? Like, that is extremely ableist of you to be like, oh, your, like, stupid random thing that you do really annoys me and distracts from your message. Maybe you should, I don't know, like,
not watch.
Turn off the video and listen to the fucking audio.
Yeah.
Like, there are other solutions. Yeah. Don't be an ableist asshole. End of story.
And then
Thank you.
Part 2 to this dumb ass comment. I looked at your channel, Linda, and you have 0 videos. So if you would like to do the same thing that we're doing, where you're talking to a camera, you're not even talking to a real person, it's really awkward. And I definitely recommend you give it a try and see where all of your little insecurities pop out.
Yeah, see what your things are, because usually you don't realize them until you watch yourself back, and then you do, and then it's really like, oh, I didn't even notice that I do that. You don't even
notice until you watch yourself back.
So let's just not be critical. And I get to watch
myself back for hours on end when I'm editing these. So the second dumbass comment spotlight goes out to my boy Cameron. I'm assuming that's really rude of me to assume this person's pronouns. I'm just guessing based off of the name Cameron and how it's spelled. It's probably a guy. But Cameron, among 3 of his different comments today, said, 2 uneducated idiots from their bedroom. So go ahead, Cameron, watch more videos of ours, because I would love to have studio space. So, but we can't get there unless you watch our ads. So
yeah,
you know,
better not be skipping those, bro. Also, I really appreciate the uneducated comment. Like, I really do. As someone with a bachelor's degree and in a master's program right now, I really do appreciate that. Thank you.
I also speak 2 languages, Cameron. Not very well on either of them, but I speak 2 of them, so. Yeah. Anyhow, let's get on into it. But first, we got to don.
If McKay touching his hair triggers you, look away.
Here we go. This will help, so I don't have to touch my hair as much.
Oh, I also want to say we won't redo, but we'll pick another Classically Abby video to react to, because I don't want to watch the same one, because then it's not like a genuine reaction.
It's not genuine.
And so we will pick another one and do that, because the only reason we picked Classically Abby was because somebody suggested it, either on YouTube or on Instagram. And then I did have I don't know what it is with the hate messages lately. Mercury's in fucking retrograde, y'all. But I did get some hate messages about, I posted a vow art video about Classically Happy. We hadn't even posted the video obviously yet because, you know, Apple's dumb and screwed us. But somebody messaged me and was like, what has gotten into you? You are so hateful. And I'm like, okay. If I was getting on here and we were just bashing on Classically Abby for being, you know, a human and being like, oh my God, she's so ugly and let me fix her eyebrows and all this like bullshit. Like if that's what we were doing, then I'd be like, yeah, that's kind of bitchy. And there's people that do that and I don't care. But my issue with these people that we react to is the things that come out of their mouths.
Yeah, that's
because
toxic.
it's harmful. And so if you stop spewing harmful bullshit, I wouldn't have to react to you on my channel. So that's the end of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
End of pre-video rant.
End of rant.
Okay, Jordan, what are we going to be talking about today?
So if you follow us on TikTok, there's a chance you've seen what we're going to be talking about today, like as a little brief intro. It came to our attention probably a month or two ago that the prophet of the Mormon Church, his wife, Wendy Nelson, wrote a book. I think she has a few. We'll talk about her and what she does in a minute. But she wrote a book. It's a children's book. Someone sent us some like screenshots of the book because someone had it because I've never seen it before, and they sent it to us, and it's absolutely toxic. It is pure child indoctrination in
its absolute form.
In its purest form. And so I wanted to read the book because I only had screenshots of a few pages. I wanted to read it, but I don't want to contribute to the amassing fortune of the Nelsons. So I did not buy it. And so we were at a farmer's market today. We were just checking it out, and McKay's like,
what's this?
And there it is.
There it is.
There it is,
just
y'all.
Just chilling in the pile of books.
In the pile of used books.
Used books.
But that's not the best part about the book.
Oh, I took off the price tag. It was $4.
It was $4 we paid for this.
$4 that didn't go to Wendy Nelson and her stingy ass husband.
Yep.
The best part about this was realized when we got home and we were flipping through the pages real quick. Okay, here's the title page with an autograph from the author. Let's get a good little close-up of that. Check that out. Woo. That's worth some money, right? No, it's actually worth $4.
It's like literally nothing, but we thought it was funny.
But even better than that is it had a personalized inscription to a family that allegedly they might know, maybe not.
It seems so because the inscription is "and with love." Like that's not something you say to a stranger. I feel like
Wendy and Elder Russell M. Nelson. So this was a little while ago.
We covered up the people's names. I don't want those people to get doxxed because they obviously like if this was a gift. This was a gift from the prophet and his wife. And that's a big deal. So my guess is there was like either a falling out with the Nelsons or they're not Mormon anymore.
Yeah.
Because even if you didn't have like kids that age, I don't know why you wouldn't keep something like that. Like I have an autographed copy of the prophet before Russell M. Nelson. I have Thomas Monson's biography autographed, and I still have that somewhere. And that was a big deal to me at the time.
Huge. Were you there when he?
No, I wasn't. I just bought it. Oh, okay. But still, like having his signature was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like a personal. I mean, it has these people's names in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was presumably a gift.
Okay. So yeah, regifted. #regifted. So once we're done with it, we'll probably be burning it. It will not go anywhere else.
No, that's part of the reason why we wanted to buy it is I don't want anybody else to get it and read it to their children.
Yeah. So that's fun. Let's go into a little background first on who Wendy Nelson is. Wendy Nelson. And then the premise surrounding the book. It's called The Not Even Once Club. We can't read it verbatim because copyright. So we might just peruse the the pages a little bit and read you a little passage or paraphrase some passages. That way you get the gist of it. Let's first talk about Wendy Watson Nelson. So Wendy Watson was born in 1950, and she was born to Canadian American parents, but she was born in, it looks like, Calgary. Oh, no, wait. Well, she was born in Canada and grew up in Canada. It appears. Yeah, it doesn't really say anything about her growing up in the church, but one could infer because she got her master's in 75, it looks like, from BYU. She would have been 25 at the time. So if she wasn't a member all her life, she's at least been a member for the most part of her life. She got a degree in, let's see. She worked at the family nursing unit at the University of Calgary for a while. Yeah. Oh, training grad students.
She used family systems therapy with families of patients. Yeah.
Her highest level of schooling was a PhD that she got from the University of Calgary.
So technically we should be calling her Dr. Wendy Watson.
So technically she's
Nelson.
Dr. Watson. I don't know. She doesn't sign it because I guess Dr. Nelson, I don't know. If you've got a PhD, flaunt that shit, honestly. Yeah. An interesting tidbit about Wendy is she was not married until 2006 when she was married to Russell M. Nelson,
current prophet.
Who is the current prophet of the Church of Latter-day Saints. And she is the celestial sister wife to Dancel Nelson, Russell's first wife. And that's really important to know because Russell is sealed to both of those women. And when they are resurrected, they will both be his wife. So when Mormons are like, we don't practice polygamy anymore, yeah, ask them about the current prophet and why he's sealed to two women if they don't practice polygamy.
And they'll say, oh, well, don't worry about it. They'll figure it out when we all die in the afterlife. Don't worry about it.
There's a little tidbit. We'll probably come back to that sometime, but today's not that day.
So Wendy was single for a long time. She didn't marry anybody other than Russell. Russell is the only person she's ever been married to. And she notably, and as we dive into kind of the premise of this book, why this is so problematic to me, is she's a marriage and family therapist.
And she was never married.
So,
and she retired in May 2006 the year that she got married for the first time.
So she's educated in the field. She doesn't necessarily have personal experience with marriage, but she does have a PhD in it. So I'm not going to doubt her capability there. However, she's written this book, which is absolutely toxic. And so I do question her professional capacity in that regard.
Yeah.
Ethically speaking, because of she's ethically bound to do certain things as a therapist. I don't think she practices anymore. Last I heard, she was a professor teaching grad students. So I don't think she's currently practicing. I don't think she could with how active her and
well, and it says she retired in 2006. Okay. So I don't think her
so she's not practicing anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's also go into the premise behind the Not Even Once Club. So there's this little narrative, basically. Can we even show the text?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I'm going to be careful not to show the text, and maybe if I mess it up, we'll just blur it. They have like a little tree house, and this kid is yelling up, hey, put the rope down.
Well, now that I think about it, the images are going to be copyrighted too.
Oh, shit.
The illustrations are going to be copyrighted.
Yeah, okay. Just to not have any issues, we're just not going to show any of this shit. So I'll just blur that out in post.
Normally we wouldn't care, but here when we're dealing with the church. Yeah,
this is a publication of Deseret Book, which is
a church-owned company.
And they are vindictive as shit.
So they will come after us.
So yeah.
So we're just going to be careful about not sharing anything.
So the kid is he's calling up to his friends in the clubhouse. He wants them to let down the ladder. They let down the ladder, and this is really wordy for
So essentially, the kid is going up to the little tree house with his friends, right? And all his friends are up there, and he's like, I want to be part of our little friend thing. And then they're like,
Let's go.
We have a club.
Okay. Well, what's this club about?
And he's like, I want to be part of the club. And they're like, you can't be part of the club unless you make some promises.
Oh, what are these promises? Let's flip. Oh, carved into the wood on the door is this little inscription that says NEO, which I'm assuming stands for not even once.
We're not talking about meth here, for those of you who were around for
crack.
that campaign.
Yeah, so he has to whisper that phrase to be able to get into the clubhouse. And then all his friends are in there, and they're like, oh my gosh, we're so happy you're here. You have to know that NEO stands for, the phrase.
All the children are dressed modestly. There is a child in here who's wearing a tank top type dress, but she's wearing a t-shirt underneath it in typical Mormon fashion.
Yeah. I would also like to point out the very, very, if you see this book, you'll see what I'm talking about, but they have a kid of seemingly every skin tone in this club.
Which is kind of surprising, honestly.
Very surprising. It seems almost like patronizing or performative. Those are all okay. Then you come into the clubhouse, and they got all this shit in here. They got snacks. There's a whole ass table. There's jars of candy and this big ball sack full of play balls. What? This is not a real playhouse or clubhouse that has ever existed, but they're like, oh my gosh,
Plus
check it out.
These jars are presumably glass.
Yeah, right. Come on, what is this, Montessori? Don't even. So yeah, you have to be a member, and
no hate on Montessori. We practice Montessori principles before somebody comes for us.
Yeah, we're totally cool on that. I was just making a joke. So they're like, oh yeah, we have to have your little initiation thing, and they hand out a bunch of. They all sit around this table. Which why is there a table? How is there a table? Oh, there's also a bunch of board games. And they hand out a bunch of menus. They pass them around.
So they're playing restaurant, pretending, right?
Yeah. And then on the menu reads a bunch of different drinks.
We have some drink options.
Yeah. Luckily, these are not trademarked, so I'll just scramble them. Alcohol, like beer or wine, coffee, tea, or lemonade are the choices. And this kid's like, do they really do they really serve these kinds of things here? That's odd.
Plus, you're a child. Or as a child, these are kids, presumably elementary school, I would say.
Yeah.
So when's the last time you heard of an elementary age child being presented a menu where they can order alcohol?
Yeah.
That's not even an option.
That's not an option. So he's in his mind thinking, hey, Sister C, allegedly his Sunday school teacher, was talking about the word of wisdom. And these kids who I guess are all from Utah and are also in the same ward don't do that. What's up with that? So they're like, oh, yo.
So then they're quizzing each other.
Yeah.
Will you do this? No, not even once.
Not even
Will
once.
you drink? So they're quizzing each other about word of wisdom concepts. And we've talked about the word of wisdom on here before, which is the no tea, no coffee, no alcohol, only one piercing in each ear, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's not in the word.
Well, I want to. No,
it's not. I always think
wanted
that one
to
is
dive deeper. Well, I want to dive deeper once we kind of get lower or through this. So I would also like to add the phrasing in this is eerily similar to the stuff that they do in the temple. Will you drink a cup of hot coffee?
I never even thought about
Not
that.
even once. And it's very prescribed.
Very repetitive.
Repetitive, yeah. What is this? That's the first token of the Aaronic priesthood. Has it a name? It has. So they go around and they do all that. Oh, you passed the test. You chose the lemonade. Good for you. Here's your little scroll.
She gives
or
him
poster.
a little poster thing.
Okay. Oh, Sister C, the primary teacher, made a poster. Oh, not just a poster. Hold up here. He unrolls the piece of paper.
It's a contract.
It's a contract. Oh, shit. Just sign here, right? These are children.
Okay, so let's think about this for a moment. What do they ask adults generally before they go on a mission? Men 18 in the temple. They ask them to make covenants. Keep promises. And your job is to not reveal these covenants and to keep these covenants lest you be punished.
Back in the 90s.
So,
not anymore, but back in the 90s. Before the 90s.
So we're just prepping the kids for this type of contractual agreement where they're going to make a promise.
Yeah. That way, when they make these covenants that they're never supposed to talk about because they're too sacred,
it's not so foreign.
It's not weird. Because if you just... And the reason why you can't go into the temple for a whole year is because it's weird as shit. If
That's
you
after, like, if you're a convert and you get baptized, you can't go to the temple for a full year.
As an adult.
Wonder why that is.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you just took some layman on the street and were like, yo, just do this real quick, they would run. Like, run. I guarantee you.
In context, it's weird. Out of context, it's
worse.
Weirder.
Yeah. So, yeah.
We also talk about... drugs, stealing, cheating, lying,
looking at pornography,
dressing immodestly, the law of chastity, and looking at pornographic material on TV, cell phones, billboards,
or movies.
So if you see a billboard,
there's these. For those of you who don't live here in Happy Valley, Salt Lake, let me just paint a picture for you. There are these.
I hope we can find a picture on the internet.
I will look. There are these hot pink billboards on the side of I-15 in downtown Salt Lake City that say Cosmo hurts children.
Cosmopolitan contains
porn or something like that.
Harms children or some dumbass thing.
Wild.
Cosmopolitan, the magazine.
Cosmopolitan magazine. So,
mind you, the Cosmopolitan magazine is not written for children.
No.
Is there potentially pornographic material in there? Yeah, it's Cosmo. But, like, is it marketed towards children? Keep it out of your kids' hands. That's not hard.
Well, I think the insinuation, I think the insinuation is that moms are buying these magazines and they leave them out for their kids to.
You think Mormon moms are buying Cosmo?
You think they've ever had an orgasm naturally?
If they were reading Cosmo, they'd know how.
Exactly. That's why they have to buy Cosmo. Okay, thank you. They're buying it for their husbands.
Oh my god.
Who will say, well, it's got the porn in there, so it appeals. Ooh, this is getting spicy.
Can't watch porn.
Okay, so they're like, you got to sign your name and date it. Not even once
Not
they
weird
chant.
As an elementary school kid that you're making a promise. Mind you, you're committing to do this for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Not even once for the rest of your life. As a child, can you make a contractual agreement or a promise like that as a child? What did you want to be when you were 8? Would you have signed a contract saying, I will be whatever that thing is when I'm 8? No, because that's crazy and you're 8.
Seriously, it's ridiculous.
Why are we putting these things on children?
Yeah, and this also goes for being baptized at 8. Like, these kids don't know that if they choose to leave the church, even 10 years down the line, they need like a notarized letter to be able to go back on this document that they've signed.
But age is...
They're making that at 8. And you want to know why the church is allowed to do that? Because the First Amendment allows them to do that.
Also, why 8? No one really knows. The church deems that the age of accountability, so children can't sin before 8, but they can sin after 8. Because, 8-year-olds be sinning. Yeah, and nobody's asked or answered me on this one. Is it like you get the deferred interest, and all of a sudden once the interest is due, like all of the accrued interest just gets smacked on the top or something like that? Just bam.
It's just like, or is it like then once you're 8, every sin after that you're accountable for? So
what 8-year-olds are sinning, I don't know.
They're not. Okay, so the final scene is the main character, and he's riding his bike home with his contract rolled up in his backpack, and he throws a pack of cigarettes in the garbage can. I don't know where these cigarettes came from. Did I miss something in the beginning? Hold on, I gotta go back. Okay. Bruh.
Wait.
Where did these cigarettes come from?
Where did the cigarettes come from?
It was a whole pack, like maybe maybe a few missing.
I'm not kidding you guys. These are elementary school kids.
Bruh. What?
Okay.
There's
maybe
no
a sixth grader.
reference.
Maybe a sixth grader could smoke cigarettes, but like third, fourth, fifth grader.
You're playing cigarette tag in gym time. Come on, they're not doing that.
That's fucking crazy. So he throws away his cigarette.
The
last line of that says, "This will be like the motto for my life."
Not even once.
For his life.
Yeah.
He's making life decisions.
At
his age.
Tender young age of...
And people are like, oh my God, it's just a fake kid contract and he's going to be able to go back on it. But again, we're setting this precedent that this is normal behavior. And peer pressure, talk about. He wants to be in this club. Like, this is like the opposite of like negative peer pressure.
Dope. Honestly, I would love to be in a clubhouse like that. It's super sick. But then you have to wonder... later down the line, like a couple years, when I was a kid, our neighbors had a barbecue, and my dumbass, for whatever reason, goes over to where all the drinks are, and I see this pitcher full of apple juice covered liquid, and I'm like, yo, I could go for some apple juice. So I pour myself a glass, and I take a big swig, and it is not sweet like apple juice. And I kind of let it sit for a second, and then I realized that it was tea. Oh my God, I felt so guilty for drinking tea because it's against the word of wisdom. And I never told people about it. I was like, oh my God, like I don't know how I'm gonna like function, because is this like gonna keep me out of heaven? So like, I didn't even sign a contract like that. I was just told that you shouldn't be drinking tea.
This is a child. A child is worried about their salvation because they accidentally drank tea.
Yeah.
Accidentally. He didn't even intentionally do it to be rebellious. Accidentally, they were worried about their salvation.
So...
that's not okay.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the word of wisdom, because it's... everybody asks us about it, and they're like, oh, why can't Mormons drink soda? Mormons can drink soda. And they don't talk about soda in this because it's so ambiguous. But this comes from a revelation that was given to Joseph Smith. And just in case you're wondering, if all the haters, these are my scriptures that I've had for well over a decade now. This comes from Doctrine and Covenants, section 89. So when the church was founded... Joseph Smith was instituting the sacrament, and he was like, yo, just use wine. And that's why in Doctrine and Covenants 20, the sacramental prayer reads with wine instead of water like they use nowadays. So for 3 years, up until 1833, when this revelation was received by Joseph Smith in the School of the Prophets in Kirtland, they were just using wine because why not?
There are multiple accounts of Joseph Smith drinking alcohol. Multiple.
Yeah.
And not just
before
in the context
and
of a church service.
Yeah. So in Doctrine and Covenants 89, literally the first verse says, a word of wisdom for the benefit of the council of the high priests as assembled in Kirtland. And then it goes on to say, not by commandment or constraint, but revelation and the word of wisdom showing forth the order and will of God. So this was not a commandment at the time it was given. And even further to the point, it was more a commandment for the members than it was for any of the higher ups of the church, because Joseph Smith was reported multiple times drinking alcohol after this was given, smoking cigars after this was given. Brigham Young owned distilleries here in Utah much after this was given, decades after.
There's even a quote from, I think it's Martin Harris. I'll have to double check. But there's a quote from one of the people who helped Joseph Smith translate the Book of Mormon that says sometimes things got wonky because Joseph drank too much. So there's multiple accounts of this happening.
An easy way to distort.
In the school, there's actually,
in
the historical record, there's actually, like, they documented most of the School of Prophets meetings, and everybody basically was on board with removing alcohol from, the sacrament
ceremony.
Except for Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith was the last one to come on board and change it to a non-alcoholic form.
Yeah.
He wanted to remain as it was with alcohol, and he was the last one. He required some serious convincing from the members of the School of the Prophets in order to change his mind.
So that's interesting. That's weird.
That's weird.
So in the Word of Wisdom, it specifically... I shouldn't have closed it. In the Word of Wisdom, it specifically mentions a couple different substances. I will use the word. Let's see. In verse 5, it refers to any man who drinks strong wine or strong drink. It is not good. Let's see. If you drink wine, it should be of your own make. Strong drinks are not good, but for the washing of your bodies. That's referring to alcohol like liquor. Tobacco is not for the body either. That one's pretty straightforward.
Also,
don't smoke cigarettes. It's not
pro
good for
tip,
you.
Brigham Young loved using alcohol for his enemas, so maybe don't drink the alcohol, but if you put it up your butt, that's
all good. It's all good. Then they talk about hot drinks, which thankfully there's no explicit language in the scriptures about this. But thanks to the good old Methodists and the temperance movement, we know that hot drinks refer to tea and coffee. So yes, I am telling you that this word of wisdom was not received from God. It was just adapted from other religions that were around at the time. So this is not special of Mormons.
Plus, there goes the story that many Mormons are actually familiar with, that Emma, Joseph's wife, was tired of cleaning up all the disgusting alcohol and cigarette,
I think it says that in here.
Cigar butts and everything that was left over after the school prophets meetings. And so she complained to Joseph about it. And then Joseph magically had this revelation. And so that's actually a pretty well-known story among Mormons. But it's like, I don't know, like cultural. They're like, haha.
Yeah.
Like that's not really happened, but it kind of really
Maybe
is.
she did. And
they talk about
positive that she had to clean up after those dudes. And there's no doubt that they were probably pigs. But did Joseph really care that much about that? It was just kind of a cover story. Yeah. So those are the things that it prohibits. Oh, go ahead.
The key, and you're probably getting here, but the key with the word of wisdom is they're like, it's not a commandment, and people will get caught up in it and be like, it's not a commandment, it's not a commandment. But then when you go to have your temple interview with your bishop and your stake president, in order to get into the temple, you have to answer whether or not you are keeping the word of wisdom.
Well, it is a commandment now. It's taught as the part of the commandments in the missionary lessons.
But it wasn't
But at the time, it was not.
Now it's part of the so regardless of how you feel about it now, it's included in the temple interview. So if you say no, I'm not keeping the word of wisdom, then you're not getting in the temple.
Yeah.
So you're not going to the highest kingdom of heaven then. Yeah.
So that is where this whole not even once club thing comes in, because they're essentially like, they want kids to set it up in early on in life so that when they're able to go on a mission, get married in the temple, etc., they can do that because they won't have any problem with these substances that are really common in use in teenagedom. Is that a word? I don't know. In your teenage years. So they're trying to get these kids to go right into the temple and not have to repent or do anything, because breaking the word of wisdom is actually one of those things that you have to... I don't know about women what the thing would be, but like if you were to smoke a cigarette or something, you would have to talk to your bishop about it if you're a man, and you couldn't pass the sacrament or do things like that.
So I imagine as a woman, you might, again, it's bishop roulette, so your punishment's gonna depend on your bishop, but maybe not take the sacrament for a week. It could. I mean, it's gonna drastically vary based on who you are and what your bishop is and who your bishop is.
So this is one of those nitpicky kind of things that the Mormons do.
And by the time you're a teenager, these things, like they teach you this stuff in primary, which is the age group, the youngest age group, basically, that can understand these things. Because by the time you're a teenager and you're being presented with these decisions, this has been long ingrained in your head. And I don't have anything against parents who are like, you know, don't drink alcohol. Like I have I have nothing against
a wise choice. As a child, you shouldn't be, because your brain isn't fully developed.
Let's not do it based on indoctrination. Let's not do it because Joseph Smith said so. Let's tell our children why alcohol might be dangerous at a teenage age. In their teenage years, and talk to them about safety surrounding it. Same thing with sex. Yeah. Let's talk about the actual research behind it and be preventative and, you know, be authentic and honest about these things, because, you know, if they're not going to hear it from you, they're going to hear it from their friends.
Exactly.
Rather than people are going to be like, oh, well, why don't you drink? Well, because my church told me I can't.
Because my church told me I can't.
I mean, I felt much more comfortable being like, you know, I come from a family of alcoholics, so I'm just not comfortable doing it. Rather than my prophet told me so.
The prophet said, I was that kid.
I was not comfortable with that.
Yeah. I was a loser. I didn't care. Just kidding. But also something that gets me about this whole thing is they teach that tea and coffee are like addictive substances. Like, alcoholism is a real thing. That's like, and you get addicted to nicotine and cigarettes. Like, obviously, that's why there's been a whole thing with big tobacco and everything for decades. But coffee and tea, there's really not a lot there.
And if you ask people why there's no, like, the justification for it is what we've told you guys. There's no scientific
justification behind that, yeah.
Like, Joseph Smith said so. And so, you know, when we want to be, like, study after study has come out now showing that tea especially is generally healthy for you.
Doctors prescribe coffee, a cup of coffee a day to help you poop. Yeah. Like,
there's people, we were aware of people who got prescribed things like that from their doctor and didn't do it because they were Mormon.
The church was literally like, yeah, you should probably just suffer instead of getting help and drinking.
Like, this is literally
coffee.
Prescribed by a physician. Yeah. And they won't do it.
Yeah. And like, when I was a kid, the word of wisdom, I was like, oh my God, they knew that tobacco was bad. Like, well over 100 years before doctors were backpedaling on their statements from like the 50s and everything about cigarettes being so good for you, and you want a baby with a low birth rate, then smoke cigarettes while you're pregnant.
Yeah.
But honestly, it was just carryover from the temperance movement, and it was a lucky guess. They really just got lucky on that one. So...
So, but they phrase it that way. So they're like, oh,
yeah. So it comes
they're always one step ahead.
Yeah, always one step ahead.
Same thing with coffee. There's no reason.
No, there's no science that backs up that it's bad for you.
Everything in moderation.
Everything in moderation is fine.
But they will drink like insane amounts of soda. That's what people always comment to us. They're like, they're drinking like insane amounts of soda, but not coffee or tea. And I'm like, I know. It's ironic. We know it. Yeah. We see it. Yeah. There's a soda shop here in every city.
Yep.
Practically.
They can drink their synthetic caffeine. I'll stick to God's caffeine.
Real talk.
Real talk. So, does that make a little more sense about the word of wisdom? Because, it's just about as crazy as it sounds.
There's really no good justification for it. People always ask us, and we're like, no, it's just
honestly,
really stupid.
It's just as dumb as it sounds. People will... They will stick to that. They will never... I had never had a sip of alcohol in my entire life up until this month. So, you know, it sticks. When you teach it in ways like this, like...
Indoctrination-based garbage.
Wendy, sister wife of a celestial being, Nelson. It sticks. So... Stealing that from Josh. In summation, don't indoctrinate children.
Leave kids alone.
Leave kids alone. Let them be.
Let them be kids.
You don't have to put a beer in their hand and a cigarette between their fingers, but just let them.
Just let them be kids.
Let them be kids when it comes to making them sign contracts to not
worrying about their
tea.
salvation if they do something accidentally. Like, let's not do that. That's not healthy.
Yeah, no. Obviously,
religious scrupulosity out the butthole in the Mormon church is for a reason.
Obviously, my experience is anecdotal, but I can't imagine it being very uncommon. So, Anyway, thanks for being with us for this journey through this amazing book that we will be burning or throwing away or shredding, just making sure it gets destroyed, because Wendy Nelson, you suck. But if you liked what you heard, hit that like button, just smash it, If you aren't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button. I mean, it helps us a lot. If you had any other questions regarding this topic, definitely leave it down in the comments. We do like to respond to all the comments that we possibly can. And if you're going to be an asshole, we'll put you on blast on video. So, shoot your shot.
Delete your ass.
Yeah.
Follow us on social media. We're on Instagram. I post on there daily. Follow us on TikTok.
At Jordan and McKay.
For both
you already
of them.
know. Links are already in the description. Check out our Teespring. We have a couple shirts up there. Hopefully we'll be getting some new ones up soon. But we are so thankful for all of you, and we will see you next time.